wildcat strike demanding a wage increase at that Lonmin platinum mine. Police were on edge, though, as we go a few days before the tragedy itself. They were on edge. This after at least 10 officers, security guards and workers were killed in the days leading up to the tragedy. Now, I want to remind you, the package, the report you were about to see, was filed by the now late Ben Said, and I do want to warn you, please, that there are some visuals which are quite graphic.
Police had earlier called this D-Day, but no one could have predicted it would end in this much bloodshed. When the bullets died down and the dust settled, bodies littered the veld. Earlier last-ditch efforts by AMCU union leaders to get strikers to disperse failed, leading to one of the most deadly days of strike action in post-apartheid South Africa. This incident will sadly remind many of a painful past. And will lead to serious questions over the police action and whether this could and should have been avoided. Ben Said, Johannesburg.
Now, even though that report by the late Ben Said is 11 years old now, that's still one of the pertinent questions being asked. Could this have been avoided? Where was the accountability in the build-up to it? Where is the accountability since then? Amnesty International South Africa says it's actually a lack of prosecution in this massacre that points to continued a culture of impunity. Very strong wording. Let's understand why they're saying this. I'm joined this afternoon by Sibusiso Khasa from Amnesty International SA. Sibusiso, hello to you, and I apologize if I have to break away from our conversation to go back to the commemoration. I certainly hope it's not the case, but for the moment, thank you for your time. Impunity is a very strong word to be throwing around, but it's more than a decade later. I think many people would agree with you. Good afternoon.
Good day, Garrett, and good day to the viewers. Yes, indeed, because if you look at the fact that no one has been prosecuted, particularly for the sin that you've just showed now, and of which they are known as Sin 1 and Sin 2, which are the events that took place on this particular day in 2012. And if you look at the fact that no one has been prosecuted for those particular killings that took place and the injuries that also took place, and it points to the fact that there isn't any particular will to sort of hold people accountable for their actions, because like even if you look at the excuses or the reasons that have been provided, they don't really make that much sense. The NPA, if you look at the recent reports which just came out today, they point to lack of resources. That's the excuse that they are providing. If you look at the response that we got from IPID as Amnesty International South Africa, they mentioned that when the Falam Commission started, they had to stop their investigations, and they only resumed those particular investigations in 2016. And they also point to the fact that they are investigating about because they are saying that they have about almost 600 police officers that were there at the time, and so they are saying that they are being criminally investigated or departmentally investigated. So yeah, but at this stage what we do know is that they are saying that the cases that are related to Sin 1 and Sin 2 have been referred to the NPA.
I would contend, however, Sibusiso, and tell me if you agree or disagree, despite the number of cases, as you say, being investigated, 600 plus, perhaps a bit more than 600 cases regarding Scene 1 and Scene 2, this is more than a decade later. It just is a complete lack, some are suggesting, of willingness by the police to investigate their own and even at a higher level from a presidential, or now presidential, then a governmental interference. What do you make of those accusations?
The issue is that, Garrett, it's really unacceptable. That's what we are saying as Amnesty International. It's really unacceptable. And even the fact that you don't even have an apology from government at this particular stage, it points to that there isn't any particular will. And if you look at even government communication from this particular day, there isn't much that is there in terms of commemorating this particular day. It points to that lack of political will, and also in terms of the will from agencies like particularly the National Prosecuting Authority.
It's the lack of will, Sibusiso, absolutely. I'm sorry, I did warn you, and I do understand viewers joining us this afternoon for the commemoration of the Marikana Massacre. Sibusiso Khasa, I'm going to say Khasa, I'm sorry. I'm going to come back to you hopefully a bit later. My team telling me we need to go back.